Emma and Daniel had been married for 7 beautiful years in a peaceful town in the United States. Their home was small but filled with laughter, love, and dreams. Every evening, Daniel returned from work to find Emma waiting with dinner and a warm smile. People in the neighborhood admired them. They seemed like the perfect couple. But behind their smiles was a silent pain. Year after year they hoped for a child. They visited doctors, followed treatments, and prayed together. Each time they expected good news, disappointment followed. Emma often cried alone at night so Daniel would not see her tears. One evening she quietly asked, "Do you ever wish you had married someone else?" Daniel gently held her hand. "I married you because I love you, not because I wanted a perfect life." Those words comforted Emma. But as time passed, pressure from Daniel's family grew stronger. At every family gathering, relatives asked the same painful question. "When are you two going to have a baby?" Some whispered that Emma was the reason. Others suggested Daniel should start over while he was still young. Daniel defended his wife at first, but hearing the same comments again and again slowly changed him. One afternoon, Daniel's mother spoke to him privately. "My son, you deserve a family. You deserve children." Daniel remained silent. "You've already waited 7 years." Those words echoed in his mind for weeks. Emma noticed the distance growing between them. Daniel smiled less. They talked less. The silence inside their home became heavier every day. One rainy evening Daniel finally spoke. "Emma, we need to talk." She looked at him with worried eyes. "I don't think I can continue like this." Her heart began to race. "What do you mean?" Daniel looked down. "My family is right." Emma felt as though the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. "I want children." Tears filled her eyes. "So do I. But maybe." He paused. "Maybe we're not meant to stay together." Emma could hardly breathe. "You want a divorce?" Daniel nodded slowly. "I'm sorry." Those 2 words shattered her world. She didn't argue. She didn't scream. She simply walked into their bedroom, packed a small suitcase, and quietly left the house they had built together. Outside, heavy rain soaked her clothes as she stood alone on the empty street. Everything she had dreamed of seemed to disappear in one night. The divorce was finalized a few months later. Emma moved to another city and rented a tiny apartment. To support herself, she accepted a job as a nurse at a children's hospital. Although every day she cared for sick children with kindness and love, returning to an empty apartment each evening reminded her of everything she had lost. One day, a little orphan girl named Lily was admitted to the hospital. She was shy, frightened, and had no family to visit her. Emma spent extra time reading stories to her, helping with homework, and making her smile. When Lily recovered, she hugged Emma tightly and whispered, "I wish you were my mommy." Emma couldn't hold back her tears. Those simple words touched a place in her heart that had been broken for years. A few months later, after careful thought and completing all the legal requirements, Emma adopted Lily. For the first time in many years, her home was filled with laughter again. She realized that motherhood was not only about giving birth, it was also about giving unconditional love. Meanwhile, Daniel's life was not what he had imagined. He remarried, believing everything would finally be perfect. But happiness cannot be built on regret. His second marriage was filled with arguments, misunderstandings, and constant disappointment. The peace he once had with Emma was gone. One evening, while sitting alone in his car after another argument, Daniel looked at an old photograph of himself and Emma smiling together on their wedding day. A single tear rolled down his cheek. For the first time, he wondered if he had made the biggest mistake of his life. Months passed, and Daniel's life continued to fall apart. The happiness he had imagined after divorcing Emma never came. Instead, his second marriage became filled with endless arguments, disappointment, and silence. One evening, after another painful fight, Daniel sat alone in his car outside his house. He opened the glove compartment and found an old photo. It was a picture of him and Emma on their wedding day. They were smiling with pure happiness, holding each other's hands and believing they would spend the rest of their lives together. Daniel stared at the photo for a long time. A tear slowly rolled down his face. "I threw away the person who loved me the most," he whispered. Days later, he learned shocking news. After several medical examinations, Doctors discovered that Daniel, not Emma, had fertility problems. Years earlier, the tests had been incomplete, and no one had investigated further. Emma had silently accepted all the blame without ever accusing him. Daniel felt as though the world had collapsed around him. Every cruel word his family had spoken about Emma echoed in his mind. Every moment she had cried alone came rushing back. He realized she had suffered because everyone believed she was the problem, and he had failed to stand beside her. Filled with regret, Daniel drove to Emma's old apartment. The landlord gently told him, "She moved away almost 2 years ago." Daniel searched for months. Finally, he found her working at a children's hospital in another city. His heart raced as he walked through the hospital corridors. Then he saw her. Emma was laughing. A little girl ran into her arms. "Mama!" the little girl shouted happily. Daniel froze. Emma gently lifted the little girl and kissed her forehead. The warmth in her eyes was something he had not seen for years. When Emma noticed Daniel, her smile slowly faded. She walked toward him calmly. "Hello, Daniel." "Hello, Emma." For a few moments, neither of them spoke. Finally, Daniel looked at the little girl. "Is she?" Emma smiled. "This is Lily. My daughter." Daniel looked surprised. "I adopted her." Lily happily held Emma's hand. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "You always wanted to be a mother." Emma nodded. "I discovered that being a mother isn't only about giving birth. It's about loving a child with all your heart." Daniel lowered his head. "I'm so sorry." Emma remained silent. "I believed everyone else instead of believing you. I abandoned you when you needed me the most. I've regretted it every single day." He couldn't stop crying. "I found out the truth. The doctors said. The problem was never you. It was me." Emma quietly closed her eyes. She had waited years to hear those words. But strangely, they no longer brought her pain, only peace. She gently replied, "I forgave you a long time ago." Daniel looked up hopefully. "Does that mean?" Emma softly shook her head. "No. My forgiveness doesn't mean we can return to the past." Daniel understood. Some mistakes leave scars that love alone cannot erase. Just then Lily looked up at Emma. "Mom, are we going home?" Emma smiled warmly. "Yes, sweetheart." Before leaving, she turned back to Daniel one last time. "I truly hope you find peace." Then she walked away, holding Lily's hand. Daniel stood there watching them disappear into the afternoon sunlight. For the first time, he understood what he had lost. Years later, Daniel dedicated his life to supporting couples facing infertility and encouraging families to show compassion instead of blame. Whenever he spoke at community events, he shared one lesson. Never judge someone because of what they cannot control. Stand beside the people you love, especially during their hardest moments. Emma also found happiness. She continued working as a pediatric nurse while raising Lily with endless love, kindness, and laughter. Lily grew into a bright, compassionate young woman who often told people, "My mom chose me with her heart." Emma would smile every time she heard those words. She no longer measured her life by what she had lost. She measured it by the love she had found. As sometimes life closes one door, only to open another far more beautiful than we ever imagined.